Do you think you can eat your way out of this? Because that's a common thing that's just spreads on social media like wildfire is this idea like if you just get your diet perfect, all your problems go away. And I already have my answer, but I want to hear it from you because 90+% of people that come to us are already doing something to improve their diet and they still have these issues.
The more chronic the problem is, no. Because I give the example to patients, right? If you're driving down the street and you get a flat tire, right? And now your car's not driving well. If I change that flat tire that day, do all my problems with my car go away? Yes, because it just happened that day. But if I were to drive around on that flat tire for years and then be like, well, the root cause was that flat tire. If I just change the flat tire, I'm addressing the root cause. The car should go back to normal like it drove 3 years ago. Well, now you have collateral damage because you drove the car malaligned for years. Now the front end, the axle, the suspension, the shocks, the steering, everything's jacked up. And so just because you fix the underlying root cause, collateral damage happened in other places in the body. And so then now you have to come in there and fix all the other collateral damages that occurred.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, the soundbite makes it difficult for us because then we have to explain that to people because people say, oh, well, I heard from so and so, if I just eat this, if I do kefir, if I do grass fed meats, I'll just be fine. That'll fix my SIBO. That'll fix my infections. That'll fix my health issues. And if you could eat your way out of this, if everyone could eat their way out of this, then you and I wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah. And a good history is really what tells you, because usually with a good history, you can kind of see where the first shoe to fall was, right? You're like going to the person's history. Their diet was good. Their lifestyle was good. They had a moldy issue in their basement because of a flood that wasn't addressed. And it's like, oh, okay, that screams to me this is an environmental thing. Or you can go back and see there was an emotional stress and then there was some diet issues and then antibiotics. You're like, okay, so the history kind of can tell you, how things started to unfold. Just like if I told you my history about my car and I told you 3 years ago I got a flat tire, you could say, oh, okay, I see how that kind of unfolded. So this is where a good history, really makes a lot of sense. And then you want to also go into it not thinking it's just one thing. It's just the mold. It's just the gluten. It's like, no, no, no. So when you have people that are like just dietitians, the problem is all they have is food. So all they're looking at is food as being the underlying issue. And that's the problem. You have to have a broader tool belt because then you're like, okay, food definitely is, blood sugar definitely is, but then other things could be as well. And you want to combine everything.
It may be a little harder for us to explain that. And we've done this for a decade plus now, which is that
Yep.
we have to be generalists and specialists at the same time. Like if you go to just the diet guru, he's going to convince you everything that you do diet wise is going to fix all of your problems. And then you and I go, wait a second. You take 20 depressed people that come to us, there's going to be 20 different clinical outcomes and 20 different clinical protocols. For this
And
lady
diets
here,
too. And diets
yeah,
too.
it could be this lady here. It was the death of her husband. It was an illness. It was moving out. It was trauma from her children
Hmm.
and it was mold exposure and dysbiosis, and she was on XYZ medication. Versus over here, lady just had thyroid issues. Okay, easy, fix that depression. This lady here, gut infections, fix that. That depression's gone. So the problem with the mental health space is it's like, okay, depression. And everyone thinks they have the same
Hmm.
flavor of depression. You can have 20 different flavors or 20 different little small rivers that all end up at the same symptom,
Hmm.
depression, but not everyone is getting there the same way, the same path.
Bingo. 100%.